day when I walked in the building, I would vomit. I had lost so much weight. I was so skinny. I had a miscarriage. Like it was awful. It was so bad in that office to the point where I was going to like liquidate my retirement plan so that I could hire an attorney. Like it was so, so bad. Actually, let me take off my sunglasses. Tiny mic on, check. I hope this thing is recording. Bonjour, mes amis, and bienvenue to my 25 days of Vlogmas. C'est moi, Jessie, your resident Francophile, and here on Cappuccinos and Consignment, I focus on lifestyle, travel, and finance. Cold but warm. I'm warm because I'm super dressed. Here on Cappuccinos and Consignment, I focus on lifestyle, travel, and finance. S'il vous plaît, take a moment to like, subscribe, and follow. Follow me over on Insta. I have a blog, and on both TikTok and Insta, search pour moi because I am not always trending. So I'm just leaving the post office. I had to ship off an order from a mes while in Paris. I do personal shopping for my clients who aren't like, I mean, they're mes but they're personal shopping clients. But I opened it up for mes as well. As I was in the post office, I was behind a woman who was just so nasty. She was so nasty, and her nastiness like inspired me to film this. Like I couldn't even wait until I got home. She's clearly on the clock. It's about 10 a.m. or so. She is on the clock because she was on the phone fussing with, I'm assuming, her assistant or something for double booking or not telling her that she had a meeting, but the assistant told her that it was on the calendar. And I can hear all this because she was on speaker. I talked about this before. Like, you all stop putting people on speaker with sensitive information. So I could hear the poor, frazzled assistant saying, "It's on your calendar." Like, I'm not responsible pretty much for, I guess, reminding you about the reminder that's on your calendar. So she was just so nasty. So once she got off the call with her assistant, she called someone else who I am assuming is in the same pay scale, pay bracket, profession as her assistant. So she's talking so bad about the assistant with this person who, from what I gathered, is on the same, I won't say level, but the same, I guess, profession as the assistant. And she's just going on and on about how this assistant is such an idiot. Just, I mean, so nasty. And it brought back very traumatizing memories. I have had those experiences so much. And it's something when you have been bullied, harassed, and abused in a work environment, even when you're out of that space, it's still like triggering. Like you still, and although I am not in that office, I don't know the woman, I don't even know where they work, I don't know anything. I still felt for that woman on the other end. And it just reminded me so much of what I had been through. Let me preface with this: certain professions, the abuse, I should say, is harder to endure because the chances of you up and leaving is harder. And this is not to be classist or anything along those lines, but we know that some professions are more accessible than others. So let's just say if you work retail, there's so many stores you can go to. Like if your supervisor or whatever, it's bad, you can find another retail store to work pretty much the same day. But when you are in very specialized careers, it's really hard to just up and leave. So I was in an office that was so, it was just so bad that I would vomit. Every single day when I walked in the building, I would vomit. I had lost so much weight. I was so skinny. I had a miscarriage. Like, it was awful. It was so bad in that office, to the point where I was going to like liquidate my retirement plan so that I could hire an attorney. Like, it was so, so bad. Personally, they talked about me so bad, about how I dressed, how I thought I was better than everyone else, or how this and that. They got so low that they started talking about my son. If you are new here, I have a teenage son who is on the autism spectrum in addition to health issues. So during the time when he was in cardiac ICU, breathing tubes hooked up to every single tube you could imagine, I was still coming to work because they would do things like schedule very performance based projects during times when they knew I was just mentally unavailable. Like, it was just really, really bad, everything about it. So I was still coming to work. My son is in ICU at this point, single mom, all of those things. They started talking bad because I still looked nice. I was still dressed, quote unquote. I was still dressed, quote unquote. So they were alluding to the fact that I was lying about my son being in ICU, because what kind of mother would care about her appearance if her son was in ICU, if she was sleeping at the hospital? It got so bad one day I was in the office, and if you work in one of the eco-friendly buildings, or just buildings where if you keep still the light turns off, they didn't know I was there. I heard them talking about my R word, son. And you could imagine the very just despicable, low rent word, how they referred to my son. Like, it was bad. It took everything in me, as a parent, you know how we get in mama bear mode. It's one thing to talk about me as if that wasn't hard enough for me to deal with. It's one thing to talk about me, but to start talking about my child, it was awful. It was one of the most traumatizing experiences in my adult life, I should say. So being in the post office just really triggered that. But we're going to always end on a high note. So I was in that very, very bad work environment. And being the person I am, just very social, very outgoing, always connecting and meeting with people, I had really, really good allies, really, really good friends in higher positions. And I was able to get out of that office. It was very difficult, very long, drawn out. The process, legal, EEO, all of those things. It was really, really bad. One second, the bestie. Will you be free in about 10 minutes? Oh, she said maybe. I'm recording. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. I'm going to text you first. Okay, bye. Perfect timing. She felt me getting dark. So it was a long drawn out process. It was not something, I'm just speeding up the story. It was not something that happened overnight, me being taken out of that place. So I was put into a new office, the last office I was in before I'm leaving my very stable position. My supervisor there was so supportive. My coworkers were so supportive. I mean, it was beautiful. Everything about that office was it was amazing. It was so, 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 so amazing. And I remember when I really like leaned into social media, content creating, just entrepreneurship. I remember like flirting with the idea that, this is where my passion is. This is where I've always wanted to be. Because how I ended up in this like very stable profession was out of pure necessity. I was a single mom. I had to give up it was in my best interest to give up the arts because just money isn't stable a lot of times depending on what field you are in the arts, and that's a whole other subject. Got into this very, very stable position, not because it was something that I desired to do or had a passion for. The roads just, or not the roads, what is it? I'm not editing that. The stars aligned and I was there. So I remember being there. I had this really good position, really good money, a really good supervisor at this point, a really amazing team of coworkers. And I remember just feeling so bad for thinking about leaving because I had everything that I had been praying for. And that's where this comes to for the people who feel bad for wanting more. Because there was a time when I was the single mother with a low paying job that I wanted, I just prayed for a stable career. I wanted, this good government job. I wanted all of these things. And so I got it. I did it for a while. And I just started feeling so bad for, I'm not going to say not wanting it anymore, but wanting something more, wanting something different. And the guilt was just eating me up. It was eating me up because I felt so ungrateful. I felt that just God, the universe, I would never get anything that I prayed for anymore because once I got it, I didn't want it anymore. And it really affected me. It affected me mentally, it affected me emotionally. It was really, really bad. It was a very, very difficult time in my life. And you all didn't know, but it was happening while I was here online. It's just something that I did not share. And it was hard. It was so hard for me to convince myself that it's okay to want more. It is okay to want more. It is okay to change your mind. It is okay. All of those things are okay. It does not make you ungrateful. It does not make you just any of those things. Like those are very human thoughts. Those aren't godly thoughts. Like they aren't. Because I'm a firm believer that God knows what's in my heart. God knows that I'm not ungrateful. God knows that I'm not any of those things. So those were me putting very, very basic human emotions into the Almighty. So once I finally got to the point where I said I was at peace with myself spiritually, I'm not editing that, spiritually, mentally, and most of all, did I say emotionally? Maybe that's the part, but socially, professionally. I had a long talk with my supervisor and I had straddled the fence as to whether I was going to leave, as to whether I was going to stay. And this woman in here just reiterated how everything happens for a reason. And we're going to get to that. Because had I still been in an office with a supervisor like that woman, I would not be right here, right now, in a space where I could help others, where I could pour into others, because I didn't have anything for me. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, I was like exhausted. I was running on fumes. I had nothing else to give. And so while I was feeling bad about praying to get out of that space, about praying for something better, and then getting something better, getting out of that space, and then leaving, I realized after a lot of spiritual and emotional work, I realized that that was strategic. I had to get out of that very toxic environment. I had to get out of that survival mode to be in a space where I had the freedom to think, to feel, to be creative. Like I needed all of those things. So when I met with my supervisor before finally leaving, I just remember crying. Like I just felt so many emotions. I really liked him. I loved his wife. I love his wife. I just did not want to leave. And he was one of the determining factors that pushed me to do this because I was so scared. I'm still so scared, but I was so scared. And he pushed me. This is a supervisor. This was my supervisor, pushed me and said, Jessie, you do not belong here. You do not belong in this space. You are meant for an entirely different life. Like, just you got to do it. You have to at least try. If it works, which I know it will, told you so. Don't forget about me. And if it doesn't, guess what? You can always just get another job. And so I'm just so thankful. I just thank God that I had a supervisor who poured into me during the time when I just felt so bad about everything. And I just feel that that is just societal conditioning. A lot, you have to forgive the lighting. I know it's a lot happening right now. Societal conditioning that keeps us in this like pigeonhole, this chokehold, where once we get over the fear of even considering doing something new, something that we want to, then we have to face the guilt. And then we have to, it's just so much. But yeah, just being in that post office and hearing that supervisor, I just hope and pray that that woman who the assistant who is on the phone with her, the woman who is in that space that I was once in, I hope somehow this message finds her that you're going to get through this. You are going to get through this. That's not where you will always be. Continue to keep faith. Continue to know that you deserve better. Know that we live in an abundant world and you do not have to settle for the abuse, the toxic, the any of those things. You don't deserve that and you do not have to settle for that, and it's not okay. So yeah, this was just a very random, most of my things are random, but this was something that was just on my heart because like my heart ached while I was in that line, and it was a very long line. While I was in the line, it just uh and any mess I mean who is watching this, who may these are the parts I usually delete, who may understand what this feels like, know that it's not forever. What you are experiencing, it's not forever. Know that you have options. Know that the universe, God, is abundant, but it takes you taking action. You have to take action. Your life isn't going to change unless you just like hit the lottery or something. If that's the case, don't forget about me. But you have to take action. You have to take action to change the things that are happening in your life. You have to. And I am here for you. For anyone who is feeling stuck, anyone who is feeling this uncertainty, feeling any of those things, truly, I'm getting warm because the emotions are pouring. Truly consider booking a one-on-one call avec moi. This is not just a shameless plug, it is truly help. I went through so much by myself because I did not have anyone I could talk to about certain things. You have someone to talk to. If you decide to lean in to pursue this, you have someone here for you. Whether you use this resource or not, it's your choice. But you can't say that you are alone. You can't in good faith. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on and share that on whatever day of Vlogmas this is. As I mean, know that you are loved, know that you are worthy, and know that you deserve nothing but the best. So I will see you all, Demo. Alrighty. Ciao for now.